Let's talk about something you probably see every single day, but maybe have never really thought about: the simple plant pot. Turns out there's a whole world of genius engineering and fascinating science packed into its design. So, yeah, let's dig in.
I think we've all been there, right? You bring home this gorgeous new plant, you find the absolute perfect spot for it, you water it like it's your job, and then a few weeks later, it's just a sad, brown disappointment. So what gives? Why do our best intentions so often end in plant tragedy?
Well, here's the good news: it might not be you at all. The answer probably has nothing to do with whether or not you have a magical green thumb. It's actually about a piece of equipment that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. And that secret is that thin, kind of flimsy-looking plastic pot your plant came in from the nursery. You know the one. It looks cheap, it feels disposable, but believe me, that unassuming little container is the unsung hero of the plant world. It's a masterpiece of functional design. And this is where it gets really cool, because we're not just talking about holding dirt here. We're talking about pure engineering. These nursery pots are precision-engineered systems with one single critical goal: to keep that plant's root system alive and kicking. Okay, so just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got the nursery pot. See how the bottom is indented, kind of raised up? Plus, it's got a ton of drainage holes. Now look at the pretty decorative pot on the right. Usually it's got a flat bottom, or water just sits and stagnates, and maybe one single hole that gets clogged up in a heartbeat. That difference right there is everything. And if you want to see the data, this chart lays it all out. The nursery pot just dominates on every key metric. Its base geometry is designed for airflow and drainage, it has way more holes for water to escape, and its material is flexible. The decorative pot, it looks great, but functionally, it fails the roots on pretty much every level.
And that material flexibility is so important. This shows it perfectly. With a soft plastic, you can just give it a gentle squeeze to loosen the root ball, which minimizes transplant shock. But trying to yank a plant out of a rigid ceramic pot, you can just feel the stress on those delicate roots. That can set a plant back for weeks or worse.
So, does this all mean you're stuck? That you have to choose between a healthy plant in an ugly pot and a dying plant in a beautiful one? No, absolutely not. There is a super elegant solution that pros have been using forever, and it's called the two-pot system.
It's known as the cachepot system. That's from a French word that literally means to hide a pot. And it's as simple as it sounds. You just keep your plant in its superior nursery pot, and then you slip the whole thing inside your stylish decorative planter. You get the best of both worlds.
And the benefits are huge. First off, it dramatically reduces the stress of an immediate repot. You can give the plant a crucial 2 to 3 weeks to just get used to its new home. It also makes watering so much easier. You just lift out the lightweight liner to water it in the sink. And hey, you can swap out the decorative pots anytime you feel like redecorating. Total flexibility. Okay, let's shift gears a little. This next part is really fascinating because we're about to tackle one of the biggest myths in all of gardening, a piece of advice I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times. But the story, as you're about to see, has a very surprising modern twist. The myth is this: always put a layer of gravel or rocks in the bottom of your pot to improve drainage. I mean, it seems to make sense, right? You're creating space for the water to go. For decades, this was just what you did. But then soil science came along and gave us this concept, the perched water table, or PWT. Basically, no matter what you do, a layer of completely waterlogged soil is always going to form at the bottom of a pot. And in that zone, roots are literally starved of oxygen. They can drown. And here is the plot twist that turned all that old wisdom on its head. Science proved that adding gravel doesn't get rid of that perched water table at all. All it does is push that soggy, root-rotting zone higher up in the pot, right into the main root ball. So for years, the expert advice became never ever use a drainage layer. But wait, the story doesn't end there. In a really groundbreaking 2025 study, a researcher named Avery Rowe basically dropped a bombshell. They found new evidence suggesting that, well, maybe those old-time gardeners were onto something after all. So what did they find? Well, the key is specificity. It turns out a specific layer, about 60 millimeters of coarse sand, not gravel, can actually be really effective. It seems to work best in the modern soil-free potting mixes that most of us use today, and it helps flush excess water out faster, especially in deeper pots. It just goes to show, science is always evolving.
All right, so we've covered the structure of the pot and the science of drainage. But what about the pot itself? Let's talk about the material, because choosing between plastic and terracotta isn't just about what looks good. It's a scientific choice that creates totally different environments for the roots.
So what's the right move for your plant? Standard plastic, classic terracotta, or maybe those clear pots that are getting so popular? Well, each one has a very distinct purpose. And here's one of the biggest risks you need to know about. That black plastic pot, it's basically a solar collector. If you put it in direct sun, the soil temperature inside can shoot up 15, even 20 degrees Fahrenheit above the air temperature. You can literally cook the roots. That's a huge thing to keep in mind for any plants you have outside.
So here's a quick little cheat sheet to help you match the pot to the plant. For succulents that need to dry out, unglazed terracotta is perfect because it breathes. For tropicals that love humidity, a plastic liner is way better at holding moisture in. And for orchids, clear pots are a total game changer because their roots actually photosynthesize. It's all about creating the perfect little microenvironment. And finally, before we wrap up, we really have to look at the bigger picture here. The environmental impact. The plant industry's reliance on plastic has a real cost, but there are some truly innovative solutions starting to emerge that could lead to a much greener future for our gardens. Here's the problem in a nutshell. Most of those black nursery pots use a pigment called carbon black. That pigment absorbs the infrared light that recycling sensors use, so the pots become invisible to the machines and go straight to the landfill. But the solution is pretty clever, a shift to a new kind of taupe plastic the sensors can see, combined with awesome retailer take-back programs.
And these programs are making a real difference. Take the Home Depot's program, for example. By diverting millions of pounds of plastic from landfills every year, they're recovering about 60% of the energy from the original manufacturing process. That is a huge step toward closing that recycling loop.
So the next time you look at a plant, don't just see the pretty leaves, look at the whole system. Because that pot isn't just a decoration, it's a high-performance life support system. And it makes you wonder, are you using the right one?